make it clear I came at the very first opportunity that the committee invited me, and that I have always made myself available to parliamentary committees. I've done over 25 appearances. They're all on the record, and I'm happy to try and assist the committee in its important deliberations. A couple of things maybe I could just make as opening comments, and then I'm willing to take any questions, and I'm willing to stay as long as the committee wishes. I have done committee appearances that went into 4 and 5 hours at a time until the committee was satisfied. It's entirely in the hands of the committee. So a couple of things, if I can speak to Canadians through you, Mr. Chair. Because a lot has been said and written in the last few weeks, and I think there are a couple of things that need to be clarified. I worry about my country right now. I'm deeply concerned about my country right now, and its politics and where it's headed. I worry about foreign interference in the upcoming election, and we're working hard on that. I worry about the rising tide of incitements to violence. When people use terms like treason and traitor in open discourse, those are the words that lead to assassination. I'm worried that somebody's going to be shot in this country this year during the political campaign. I think it's totally unacceptable that a member of the Parliament of Canada would incite people to drive trucks over people after what happened in Toronto last summer. Totally unacceptable, and I hope that you as parliamentarians are going to condemn that. I worry about the reputations of honorable people who have served their country being besmirched and dragged through the market square. I worry about the trolling from the vomitorium of social media entering the open media arena. Most of all, I worry about people losing faith in the institutions of governance of this country. And that's why these proceedings are so important. So a couple of things from my perspective. Should Canadians be concerned about the rule of law in this country? No. In the matter of SNC-Lavalin, it is now 7 years since the first police raid on the company, 4 years since charges were laid by the RCMP, and during that entire time and up to today, the independence of the investigative and prosecutorial function has never been compromised. The matter is proceeding to trial. The Director of Public Prosecutions issued a statement, which you can find on her website, on February 12th, the context of the Norman matter, in which she said, and I quote, "I am confident that our prosecutors in this and every case exercise their discretion independently and free from any political or partisan consideration." That is from the DPP. The only communications with the Director of Public Prosecutions about the potential use of a deferred prosecution agreement, an instrument provided for by legislation, were conducted by the minister, as is appropriate. In this matter, the laws that you as parliamentarians created around ethics in government are demonstrably working. The prosecutor is independent. The Lobbying Act worked as intended. The Ethics Commissioner self-initiated his own process. In other words, the shield's held. The software that is supposed to protect our democracy is working. Is there two-tier justice in Canada? No, demonstrably not. Despite the most extensive government relations effort in modern times, including meetings with officials, political staff, the opposition leaders, paid advertising, advocacy by 2 consecutive premiers of Quebec, the company did not get what it wanted, demonstrably because they're seeking judicial review. Are we soft on corporate crime? No, as you are discussing, deferred prosecution agreements are an attempt to balance public policy interests. It's a legitimate concern for governments, and indeed for everyone, that the workers, suppliers, pensioners, and communities in which a company operates suffer for the misdeeds of the corporate officers. A deferred prosecution agreement is not an acquittal, an amnesty, an exoneration, a get-out-of-jail-free card, or a slap on the wrist. It is what it says, an agreement to defer prosecution. It is subject to compliance, and it can be revoked. DPAs were not slipped into Canadian law. There were consultations leading up to the bill, which drew 370 participants and 75 written submissions before a December 2017 deadline, and I'm sure those submissions would be available to this committee. There was extensive review of the bill provisions at a Senate committee, and that's all on the record. So I'm open to answer questions about any matter that the committee wants to ask. I think I'm pleased to disclose or discuss my contacts with the company and meetings that took place over the course of the last little while, which have come up in media speculation. I'm here to say to you that the Globe and Mail article contains errors, unfounded speculation, and in some cases is simply defamatory.